cafeteria is Gordon mentioned that our lift station is down in the cafeteria. This is one of 2 sewer lift systems in the building. The reason why we have this is we have to lift the sewage up to the main city lines. So there's a lift system right here. Obviously this isn't an ideal location for a sewer lift system right next to your cafeteria. What our custodians have to do on a daily basis, they have to pour chemicals on here just to control the smell. This is the sewer lift system that a lot of people talk about, location right next to the kitchen serving area. Earlier I mentioned that there's a lot of wasted space in the building. This is one of the first areas that come into mind right here. These stairwells right here we've had to stop using because of the steepness and the risk involved with using them going down out here on the east side of the building. There's no handrail, which is one obstacle, and then also just the steepness of them. We're talking ice and snow. They're very dangerous, so we don't even use them. So this area right here is essentially just wasted space. New building, we'll put full-size lockers. I can open one of these up and you can see the size of them. So this is a half size of a locker here. If a student has a book bag, winter coat, it's not all going to fit in here. Therefore, what they're forced to do is take and put their coat, book bag in a teacher's classroom, therefore cluttering up our teacher's classrooms anymore. This classroom here is our tech lab classroom. It was moved in from East Stadium at the start of this school year. So for 10 plus years, students had to go out to East Stadium for their class every day. These are new modules here, which require students to work in partners, cooperative learning, and they're able to do a lot of different simulations. For example, this one right here is a flight simulator. Over there they have an occupational outlook. There's one on building engineering bridges. A lot of hands-on, working together simulations they can do. Our school board approved the purchase of these this past year, and there's about $60,000 to $65,000 to update this lab right here. Now, going back to the outlet issue, this classroom only had about 4 outlets. So what they were required to do, we had to have electricians come in, rewire all of the walls, and put wire strips along the outside. A renovation will kind of alleviate those plans, providing more outlets. This is the only way a student can get down to the cafeteria if they are in need of a chairlift. So what they would have to do is they would have to go over to our wheelchair ramp by the office, come up to this annex, instead of going down the stairs where everybody else, come across this hall, and then take this down to the lower level. Then they've got to go through the band room to get to the cafeteria. This is one of 2 chairlifts in the building here. These chairlifts were not built at the times of electronic wheelchairs. Electronic wheelchairs cannot fit on here. The only ones that can fit on here are the manual ones. I can take you in here, and what you can see is this is one of just probably 2, 3, 4 classrooms that are air conditioned in the building, and it's because they have a window air conditioner. We decided which classroom's got the window air conditioning based on computers. People think it's the students that put off heat. It's the computers. These computers, they run and they emit a lot of heat. The other thing the heat does to the computer is it takes away the life of the computer. So this room has air conditioning. You'll see Mrs. Klein has a projector set up. A successful renovation, we'd have the wiring up in the ceiling. A projector could then be mounted in the ceiling, and she wouldn't have to have the wires running across. Probably one of the nicest middle school waiters in the state, nicer than a lot of high school. Location, we'd obviously like a little bit closer to the gym, but this was a space that really wasn't used. It was a commons area, it was an unused space. The pillars, you couldn't put a classroom up here. That creates supervision issues and classroom management issues, so we put up the temporary walls, and this is our weight room here. Right here is one of several examples of what happens when they tried to put one building up against another building. This section right here was built in the 50s. This was all built in the 20s. So when we put them up together, we ran into issues of trying to stop water leaks. So a renovation will really address those areas, but then we've got water leaking down between the 2 spaces. As we go through the building, you can see several areas where the plaster walls have started to crack, settling has happened, deteriorating. And the way the architect kind of explained it, these 2 walls will stay, but they'll be stripped down just to their cinder blocks, just the supporting areas, and then the walls will be redone. This is the second chairlift, and a scenario I like to tell people about is these chairlifts take 1 minute per floor. So let's take, for example, a student's up on 3rd floor, fire happens, chairlift's down on main floor. It's going to take 2 minutes for the chairlift to get up to the top. It's going to take 2 minutes for it to get back down. So at minimum, we're talking 4 minutes, maybe between 4 and 5. We can empty out this entire building in 2.5 minutes in a fire drill with no problems. The other thing is, not only does it take 4 minutes, but it shuts down a stairwell. So let's say the fire's in that stairwell down there. There's a student needing to use the chairlift here. Now for our main part of our building, we're restricted to 2 stairwells instead of 4. One of our boys' bathrooms, a lot of times when I give the tours, when I gave the class of 1958 tour, they said, oh my goodness, these are still here. As you can only imagine, our boys find other uses for these just to wash their hands. But as bond election would upgrade the plumbing, we could get away from these older sinks, as you may call them, or whatever you want to call them. But something I wanted to mention, the staff lounge, this is kind of an eye-opener. We have very little, if any, hot water in this building. So if you want to use a sink in our staff lounge, the sinks in our bathrooms, you're lucky to get any hot water, if at all. So hot water is a major challenge in this building. This is the back side of our auditorium. You can look out. These are the original seats that were put in here. As I mentioned earlier, this space is used less than 10 times per year. This is also the space where wrestling practice is held. Safety issue, kid rolls off the side, but there's really no other space in the building that can be used. You can look and see water damage on different parts of the building. Again, this space would be torn down, and this would be our cafetorium area here. A couple things I like to point out here is the water damage over there. The other thing I really can't point out, but I can describe to you, is above these ceilings here, there are mounds of bat feces, some spots this high. And the reason why that is the bats come in through the chimney and have left bat feces throughout. So one thing that can happen is the ceiling panel could get hit by a volleyball, basketball, PE ball, bat feces may fall on the floor. Or it can slip down over here. About a year and a half ago, Mr. Mason and I, the principal, visited several middle schools across the state. And one of them we went to was in Columbus. And the teachers there were actually having some major issues with the fact that their building had bat feces upstairs, and bat feces can be toxic. So this area will all be torn off and a new gymnasium will be built. We don't even use this trophy case anymore. They tell us they have the water leak stopped, but water, when it would rain, would just flow through these light fixtures in here. And you can see the water damage on this wall, and it would literally just pour down as it rained. Luckily today it's only about 60 degrees, probably about 50 outside. If you can imagine this room on an 80, 85, 90 day, it's pretty unbearable about this time of the day. But we do have pretty nice weather. This room's also fortunate to have 2 sets of windows on the west side and the south side here. I'm going to take you to another classroom here. This is the 7th grade reading classroom. Take note of the size of the classroom. Trying to fit 20 kids in here can be an obstacle. This is Mrs. Escamilla's 7th grade reading class. Sorry to interrupt students. Her biggest class size is 17. In a bigger room, a building with more uniform-sized walls. It'd be nice to be able to put 20 at times if we need to, depending on how the schedule worked out. By the time you can see, we get the teacher desk, a separate student computer, bookshelves that require all the books, filing cabinets, desk. It's a fairly congested room in here, and you can see the varying size in the classrooms from the 8th grade math classroom I was in now to this one.
Why would someone want to vote for the bond issue?
I would encourage patrons of the community to vote for the bond, because I truly believe it's what's best for kids and it's what's best for this community. Passing a bond will not only impact the students in this building, improve the quality of learning, but it will also have a drastic impact on the economy in this area. The hospital wants to recruit 25 new physicians in this area. The first thing those physicians are going to look at, if they have families, is the quality of schools. So in a way, everybody benefits one way or another from a successful bond election, indirectly or directly.